every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Oh, we praise your name, Jesus. Oh, I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken, and I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken.
Hey guys!
I'm Esther.
And I'm Tiffany.
Welcome to TC Youth, especially if you're new.
Thanks for tuning in with us. We can't wait to get to know you and have you join our TC Youth family.
Now, we have a few announcements for you guys, so please stay with us so you know how to get plugged in.
Okay, so for our first announcement is that we have our online devos or devotionals going on throughout the week. Devotionals are basically ways that we can learn more about the Bible and hang out with our tribe groups. So for more information, make sure you message your tribe leader. And if you're not part of a tribe yet, then make sure you leave a message in the chat and or in our Zoom.
Up next is Friday Fuel. At TC Youth, we love to have fun together every Friday at 8 p.m. We either play games, watch movies, or have Instagram lives. So remember to follow our Instagram account at thecollective.youth for updates on how we'll spend this coming Friday Fuel.
Now, the third thing is we have our Next Gen Takeover. That means both Young and TC Youth will be taking over the Adult Sunday service. Because this takeover will happen next Sunday on the 29th of November, this means we won't have a TC Youth service. Instead, let's all come hang out in the main service. And if you're interested to help, make sure you contact your tribe leader for more information.
Alright, the last thing is that aside from our takeover, we have these TC Youth services every week at the same time, same link. Also, come hang out with us after service to hang out or to play some games.
Well, that's all for us. Let's begin the sermon.
What's up, TC Youth fam? Welcome back to another Sunday service. And we are on part 4 of our sermon series, Family Matters. And so, with that said, we're going to do things a little differently today. We're not going to be doing preaching. Right now, I have some special guests that some of you know, some of you don't know. Let's take a sec. Let's introduce each other. First on my left, we have
Stancy. I'm one of the leaders here at TC Youth. You guys know me. Love you.
Yeah, so we got Stancy, youth leader. And then also on my right, you got my boy.
Abed, I'm one of the youth in TC Youth.
Yeah, I love it. We got Abed. Some of you guys know him, some of you guys don't. If you don't, you're meeting him now. And last but not least, we have
Giselle, I'm a youth from TC Youth as well, from the junior high tribes.
That's right.
Hey, what's
J
up?
High Tribe represent.
Represent.
By the way, Giselle has a YouTube page.
I do.
Check it out. What's
Follow
your YouTube
her.
page called?
Just my name, Namira Giselle.
Namira
That's
Giselle.
my YouTube page.
Check it out.
Love it.
Dropped on my face. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Thank you guys, thank you.
And so a little later, I have him on here with us because we're going to have a conversation about family and friends. And, throughout this series that we've been going through, I think a lot of us know that not all of our families are perfect, and I think
Definitely.
the more that you would see from our families that none of us are perfect and none of our families are perfect, maybe it'll give you room to say, oh, I belong in this community and I can learn from these guys and how we've had to deal with our families, okay?
Yeah.
And so, but today we're going to talk about family, not just existing in our blood family like mom, dad, sister, uncle,
Yeah.
dog.
Hey.
I mean, the dogs are part of the family.
My dog, Loki.
Loki, your dog's
I
name's
love
Loki.
Yes.
Also
He's the
mine.
cutest.
It's my
You
son.
can see him on my Instagram.
So not just blood family, I keep thinking of your dog. Not just blood family is part of the family, but actually some of you guys, we have friends. And you guys are so close with friends
Yes.
that they feel like family, okay? And so right now, before we kick off into some just conversations that we're gonna have, I wanna read a couple of quick verses that we've talked about either in this series or in the past series that show that blood or family exists beyond blood, okay? And so some of you guys know the story of David and Goliath. Do you guys know the story, David and Goliath?
Yes.
You guys know the story.
Yeah.
So we have David. Some big things about David, he was like a king, he killed Goliath, he was a wild man. But more than that, the cool thing that David had, he had a best friend.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any best friends in life?
Yes.
Yes, I
You
do.
do. Give me some names of some best friends. Like, what's the name of a best friend? Maybe there's more than one best friend. Don't get offended by not being called
There's
a best
more
friend.
than one.
More than one.
Of course,
Safety.
more than one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Give me a name of one of your best friends, Giselle.
Just one of them.
Yes.
One of them is Sophia. She's also a part of this tribe.
Sophia.
Hey.
Sophia in the
Little
house.
Sophie.
I love it. What about you?
Jason, if you're watching this, shout out to
Jason,
you.
if you're watching.
Jakayla's also one of my best friends.
Jakayla, if you're watching. Okay, keep going, Ahmed. Don't get one. I'm just kidding. Harrison. Okay. What about you, Stancy? Give me a name of like,
Oh
a
my
really good
goodness,
friend.
I have so many best friends. Off the top of my head, I have Sarah Sievert.
Sarah Sievert.
Angela Vero.
Angela, that's my girlfriend.
Ooh, and I have Rebecca Judson.
Rebecca Judson.
Yeah.
Wow.
3 off the top of my head.
Well, I have one. Jesus Christ.
Whoa! Okay. Holy pastor.
Jesus Christ is my best friend. I'm kidding. Okay, no. A lot of best friends. Gio, Ray, Alex, Jesus, Stancy, Aga. Everyone's my best friend.
Yeah, okay.
So,
A lot.
anyway, coming back to this, right? When you guys have best friends, they feel like family, right? They feel like family.
Yeah.
And imagine a world without your best friends, just your parents and your siblings, right? It's like, it's still a good world, but somehow having friends in your life, it just feels like your world's bigger. It feels like life is bigger.
100%.
And so I just want to read a couple quick verses here. This is in 1 Samuel 18. And it says, in verse 1, it says, after David had finished talking with Saul, this is King Saul, and this is when David was before a king, said he met Jonathan, the king's son. There was an immediate bond between them, for Jonathan loved David. From that day on, Saul kept David with him and wouldn't let him return home. And Jonathan made a solemn pact with David because he loved him as much as he loved himself. Jonathan sealed the pact by taking off his robe, giving it to David, and together with his tunic, sword, bow, and belt. And so right here, we're only talking 4 verses here. But in these 4 verses, I want to explain a couple things. Number 1, David came from a family of a lot of brothers, a lot of siblings. Do you guys have siblings?
Yes, I do.
And with your siblings, do you guys sometimes feel like they get the easy way out, or sometimes you feel like you have more responsibility, or maybe sometimes you feel like you maybe you don't get as much attention as your siblings or something like that? Does that ever happen to you guys?
Yeah.
Some of
Right.
those, yeah.
Some of those moments, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm a middle child. so
Middle child.
I get both
Ooh.
sides of it.
You get both.
Yes.
And you're a middle. You have a younger sister.
Yes.
And you're the middle older sister. So there's
Yes.
still like a weird. You're
It's
still the
true.
older
That's true.
like image, right? So that's the thing. So David, he grew up in a family where all of his brothers didn't like him, in a way that they were jealous of him. His own dad was like, "Oh, well, look at my other sons, not David." So David himself grew up in a family that it's not like his family was thinking he was enough, you know. So his family had dysfunctions in it. Then we have Jonathan, and in the past series that we've been together, we've talked about how Jonathan came from a guy named King Saul, and King Saul wasn't the best king ever. Like this guy, he didn't listen to God. He, in fact, he tried to kill David. Like this guy tried to kill David because he was insecure about David. He tried to throw spears at David. He tried to get David killed in caves. Like different things would happen where King Saul didn't like David. And so we have Jonathan, who is a part of a pretty broken family. We have David, who's a part of a pretty broken family. But somehow in this moment, deeper than family, deeper than blood, these guys become like family themselves. And their bond is deeper than any blood tie. It's like this close best friend thing. Yeah. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about today, is how our family is bigger than just our blood family, right? And how, even if our family is bigger than our blood family, like that's okay. You know, some of us, like I, for the longest time, I have my parents and my sister. It took me a long time to grow into appreciating them as family, because sometimes I felt like I was closer with my friends as family, right?
Yeah.
So I want to kick off now into some conversations that we can have with each other.
Love it.
First question I want to ask you guys, and this is a question that maybe as they talk, you'll say, "Oh my gosh, my family is so much like this. I'm not alone," right? So the first question is, what are some dysfunctions in your family, like your specific family? What are some dysfunctions in your family? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, Giselle with the YouTube. Let's go.
Okay. So some dysfunctions that I have with me and my family is sometimes we argue a lot. It could be about anything, like silly things or serious things. It can also be like not returning the other person's charger or something.
Yes.
That's real.
Sometimes we also don't have enough time for each other with like our busy schedules or hanging out with our friends or just being with ourselves, you know? Having some alone time. Sometimes we are not in the mood to hang out with anyone.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
that's some problems we have.
Yeah, and that's really good because it feels like if you don't have that time with family, sometimes you don't even feel like your family.
Yeah.
You know, so
Okay.
that can happen.
Yeah,
Wow, that's really good. What about you, Abed?
Mine is basically the same as Giselle. We argue a lot, and we argue from like the smallest things to the biggest things. And our family, we have some anger issues, and we can argue from the littlest thing and make it the biggest thing in the world.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that's just our main focus. Like when we want to go out to have like a dinner, and then our dog just does something, and then one of the family members just gets mad. Everyone in the end just gets mad, and then sometimes even the dinner gets canceled because of it. And so, so we argue a lot, and because we're all have anger issues and we're all like stubborn, it's hard to actually find a solution to that specific problem. So.
Wow. And so I love, because that's so real. Like, and you've seen how like anger and arguments just stop plans.
Yes.
You know, and it's so frustrating with family because you're like, why can't? Does it ever feel like? Have you ever thought this before? Have you ever thought like, why can't I just have a normal family?
Yes.
Right?
Of course.
You have that thought, right? Like, why can't
Every time.
I just have a normal
for
family?
sure.
Like, why do you have to fight? As soon as you were talking about anger and fighting, it made me think of how intense Latino families are. So I want to go right to Stancy.
Way to not be stereotypical here.
Because I was like, you know, you gotta hear this.
But you know what, Jordan, I'll give it to you because my family is for sure, like it does have its dysfunctional
Yeah.
like aspects to it. I remember growing up, my dad, every time we would have dinner, somehow he just always wanted to talk about serious stuff. Like if it had to do with something with the family, his job, like something serious, like an uncomfortable or hard conversation, he always wanted to have it over dinner.
Yeah.
And that created like such tension between all of us
Yeah.
that like nobody liked to eat together. Like we just did not want to eat any meals together because we knew that that was going to happen. So much so that now that we're all grown up and we're all adults, like it's hard for us to like actually have a meal together and sit down for dinner. So like most of the times I'll make food, or my sister, my mom, or whoever, and we'll want to eat by ourselves.
Yeah.
Or like we eat while watching something so we don't talk.
Yeah.
And like it's so crazy how that just impacted.
Yeah, that past moment with that uncomfortable conversations, all that made you uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
Even to talk as family. Wow.
It's hard, yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, it's so good. I guess for me, I mean, I don't even know for myself, for family, because there's a lot. I think for me, one dysfunction is my family never addresses problems. I feel like my family would just put problems under the rugs and never address it. And it's even with me. Like sometimes if I didn't do something right, they would just not want to bring it up and point it out to me. And that how I've seen that play is sometimes I'm like, I've seen how, as I grew up, I've realized like, man, like I can't hide my problems. Because if I hide it, it's going to come up out of nowhere. So that was a dysfunction I grew up with a lot, is trying to hide problems, feeling ashamed if people knew about my problems.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I need to address my problems, you know? And so obviously, you know, I want to take something that Giselle said, because I can relate with Giselle when you were saying how, you know, sometimes you're so busy with your schedule that you don't even feel closer to your family, but you feel closer with other people. And sometimes I think that's sometimes okay in life, because I think that's just life. Like if your parents are working hard, your friends are the only ones available because your dad's away, your mom's working, your sister or brother are busy, you know?
Yep.
Sometimes you just have your friends. And so one question I want to ask you guys is, have you found family outside of your blood-related family? And how has finding people like this benefited you? How has finding people outside of your blood family, like how has that benefited you? How has that helped you? Has it helped you through a hard season? Has it helped you feel like, okay, I can be myself around people? How's that been? Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
Because I think like what you were saying about your family not addressing things as you were growing up, for me, it was kind of the opposite, where people, like my family would address them, but I, for one, wouldn't want to talk about it. And now with my friends who I consider family, whenever I'm with them, like somehow like it just makes me want to open up more.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I have more of a safe space to open up and be like, okay, listen, I'm struggling with this. Like I need your help to help me keep me accountable, to support me through this.
Yeah.
And I feel like with my family, I didn't really have that growing up. Even until now, I still struggle opening up with my own struggles. So like my parents, my mom. But that's how it's been for me in my experience affecting people. But then I just like wonder, what about you guys?
Yeah, please.
How do you guys?
Who wants to go?
Okay, I can go again. Yes, I have had a bunch of family friends before, but the majority of them didn't end well. Like I just ended a few, like recently?
Yeah.
But I still have some, and those are like the true ones, you know. And they have benefited me. They have benefited me so much in my life. Why? Because when I'm going through like a fight with my other friends or with my family, or I'm just having a hard time at home with any problems, they're always there to help me, to cheer me up, to tell me that everything will be okay. And my favorite thing, we like to read the Bible together. Yeah. We also like to worship together.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really sweet.
Yeah, it benefited me a lot in life, and they're just people who I can count on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All the time.
Yeah, that's
okay.
So good.
For me, like I've obviously found my circle other than like my family, which I call like a lot of my friends like family because we're so close. Sometimes, with what Giselle said with the previous question, a lot of my family members, we get so busy with our work that we feel very distant with each other, and we rarely share about our problems and personal things. And so, because I spend so much time with friends, I feel way more comfortable like sharing to them. And so sometimes I go to my friends and rant about things that I just don't feel comfortable yet talking to my family. So it also benefited me like socially because I was a shy kid growing up, and by having that friend family thing, it has boosted my confidence and made me be able to share more with people and also just be more socially active.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good.
No, that's so good. Hearing all this, I actually want to jump into the last question because, for me, it feels like you guys have seen a lot of benefits of being surrounded, like having a good circle of friends. And you've been on this, like the way I want to put it is like you've seen how it's affected you. But now the question has to be, okay, well, are there others out there that don't have what I have, like good friends? And so this is the question I want to ask us, is what are some ideas or ways that you have or we could widen our circle? What I mean is like what are some ways that you have widened your circle of friends? Like what I mean is like maybe you've thought like, oh, I want to do a party and I just invite other people to join, something like that. So what are ways that you have widened your circle, or maybe you have ideas how we could widen our circles? Maybe you can inspire us today. Floor is open, and the heart behind it is because, like, if you guys have experienced something good, we want others to experience that. And so that's the question. Who wants to go first? Maybe some ideas.
I'll go first.
Okay, let's go on
Sweet.
then.
With my circle is just being very open because a lot of circles of friends, they tend to be very exclusive and very close, and they only accept a certain type of people to actually go in. And so just being open to anyone to join in is actually like one way to widen my circle.
Yeah, that's good.
That's so
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Giselle,
That's
you have
true.
anything?
Same as Abed, but I would like to add something because, right now we're all in like quarantine, so it's hard for us to, especially if we're just joining new communities, like a new school, it's hard for us to communicate and make more friends.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is like online hangouts, I think they've benefited me a lot. Like it has been a huge benefit on me because TC Youth, I've actually joined this recently during quarantine, and I barely meet the people like physically.
Yeah.
But online, I was still able to have fun and all. So communication is a really like big way to
For sure.
become friends, like family friends.
That's so good. What are some fun things that you've been doing for hanging out? Like, you guys been staying up,
All these
sleepovers,
events. Sometimes
Yeah,
I have virtual sleepovers as well.
I love it. So
But like my
That's
laptop
so
dies
cool.
midway, so
Yeah.
that's not a good thing to do. But it's not a good thing to do.
I love
Or
it.
like an all-nighters, all those fun things. And these TC Youth events like Friday Fuel,
Yeah.
those were really fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
No,
good.
I love it. I think it's so funny and how interesting how where we're at right now and like this times, the way you deepen a connection or a friendship with someone. I think it relies more on that emotional side of things, right? Where like I think you do have to kind of open up a little, but the way that I've done it is I try to be very intentional about the person I'm gonna talk to. Or I think of someone, like if I notice that someone's kind of being left out, or I've maybe seen this person's story like a bunch of times during the week, I'll just reply to it and be like, oh my gosh, I love this. I'll try to come up with something that connects me to this person and then start a conversation from there, and then that's how I start making connections.
Yeah.
And like, to be honest, that's how I've actually, to a lot of people that way before quarantine, I wouldn't talk to as much. Now I talk to them because I was just kind of intentional in like what I would comment or message them or reply to their story.
Yeah.
Or like even if I think of them, I'll be like, oh, I thought of you. Here you go,
Yeah.
And I think that's been a really great way that I've widened my circle, and that I believe that you guys could also benefit from that.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah, to do that.
I love that. I feel like actually, like from all three of your guys' things, I feel like that's anything I would say. Because like if we have hangouts, and then you try to find someone intentional, and then you're open. Like we tie those together. It's like if you have some type of hangout happening, and then all you gotta say is like, okay, I know this guy likes Legos. I like Legos.
Yep.
Let me talk to you about Legos for like 10 seconds. Talk to him about Legos. Okay, I know my group is open. I know the people I'm hanging out with, we love people. We want to hang out with people. I'm gonna talk to him about Legos, and I'm gonna invite him to this event because I know the people here are super open for him.
Yeah.
You know, I think everything I
that's
said,
right.
it literally, it just grows.
Yeah.
It's like that's the action plan. You know, that's
Yeah.
it. And so, so I love that. What you guys said was so good. And so that's our encouragement for you guys as we close. Is that you would trust that you would find people like Jonathan to David here in TC Youth, whoever you are. Like you don't have to be a Christian to belong with us. Like we want to be that friend for you.
Yeah.
But we also what we want to instill here is like we need to be Jonathan and David's to others. You know, we need like there's other people out there that don't have that, and that's who we could be for people.
Yeah.
Right, and we need to widen our circle with people like that. All right, so let's take a moment. We're gonna pray together, and we're gonna jump into some tribes. So let's pray. I will pray. I was gonna make one of you guys pray, but I'll just pray. Okay, here we go. So God, I pray right now for everyone that just tuned in. God, we know that maybe there's people that maybe feel lonely. They don't have someone that like we have that we could be open with, that we could be real with. That's not like our family. God, I pray that this would be a moment where they would get plugged in with people that would be close with them like that. They'd be good family, that would treat them with like a blood brother or sister. And so, God, I just pray for everyone that watched that they would really feel your presence in their life through people. And we love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I love it, guys. So, guys, we are about to jump into some tribes. If you want to jump into the tribes with us, go ahead to the Zoom link below. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see you guys there.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.